So in Celeste there's this popular mod pack called the D-Sides, and the final challenge you have to face in this campaign is Finding Goodbye, or better known as 90. It's one of the longest Celeste maps ever made, and I have over 1500 hours of playtime on this map attempting to clear it deathless. During these 1500 hours I've learned a lot of useful but also kinda just fun and useless information about the map. So here's 18 minutes of useless 90 information. Let's get started. How long is this map exactly? Well, here it is next to normal farewell. Did you know that the very first room actually plays a very faint version of 7B? It's very quiet, but if you listen very carefully you can hear it. And if I open debug, it plays at normal volume. The reason the platinum berry is to the left of the starting area is because it's a reference to the old golden berry placement, which was even farther away. Talking about old 90 golden, there used to be a website called Is 90G Possible, which would tell you how long it would take to get 90 deathless based on your consistency in each room. Though this really isn't a good way to decide if something is possible or not. In Start 5 there's the secret bottom route area. It's not very useful though because it's not that fast or easier at all. In this key in Piece of Salto you can just fall straight down into the other room through a spinner, through a pixel perfect gap, and get in the other key room. In this room in Glimpse of Freedom, this fish will hit the spring every time, except if you blow it up first and then hit the fish, it will never hit the spring. I have no idea why this happens. So this heart gate requires 999 hearts to open, but if you use cheat mode to open it anyway, it will open up the perfect amount for Melon to fit in crouched. Though if you do this in old 90, it will not open at all. There's a secret path here in Curiosity, which the hologram even shows you. You can travel up to the middle key room from the bottom key room. And then also even from the middle key room to the top key room. And talking about keys, did you know this map has 60 keys in total? If you hold left here after collecting this key, sometimes you will land on this platform and other times you don't. Something subpixels to keep up as they'll normalize your position. If you collect this final key before dedication really fast and enter the next screen, some weird things can happen. In this room in Memories, if you hit this wind trigger here at the bottom, and then also this wind trigger later to combine the two wind directions, the bubble will take a specific path which will slam straight to this wall in the next room. Which, it doesn't really have any purpose, but it's really cool, I think. From this key room on top of this room, if you do a double pixel perfect downwards clip through these spins and retry in the first frame, you actually respawn on the end of the room, skipping all of it. There's a secret demo right here at the start of the room. And also at the end. This flashing decal here shows every chapter in the D-Sides. And you know it's specifically the D-Sides because it shows Summit, Core, Epilogue instead of Summit, Epilogue, Core like it's in vanilla. At the end of this room you can also just go over the wall instead of through it. Every one of the key rooms in Creation is based on one of the main chapters of Celeste. There's even one for Prologue with the intro cards. If you climb up through this room transition in Exploration, this platform is at the perfect height to where you're infinitely falling. Just very slowly, about 0.0002 pixels per second. This spring down here that can catch you if you fill the wall bonds is placed on top of temple tiles. This is intentionally a reference to this spring in 5C which has the same purpose. In Exploration Finding Room, if you go back left, there's actually a trigger in the previous room you can only hit from this room that changes the physics to Slippery Ice Core mode. Now if you just keep playing you will stay in Slippery mode for quite a while, though you can also go back left and hit the trigger in the previous room to set it back to normal. At the end of this room in Depression you can just go over the top. Normally in Trust you can't see anything, but if you remove the style ground, there's actually some funny faces and decals placed around. In this room in Trust, you can also go over the top at the ending. In this room in Revisit, there's an invisible ceiling blocking you from going to the key area, but if you go to the left and then up, you can actually land on top of it. There's a little secret area here which lets you look at one of the upcoming rooms. This zipper in the style ground is shaped like a 9, like 90. At the end of 500 meter warp there's actually a tiny wind trigger. It's just surrounded by 2 wind triggers that turn the wind back off again so you can barely tell. But if we do a little cheating, you can see it pretty clearly. Also the height pop-up in the summit section is actually in light years, and if you translate it over it's actually pretty accurate to what it would normally be. Okay, I just noticed this during editing, but it's so cool that I just want to include it. The decimal number after the translated meters actually counts up the chapters. 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, etc. That's like so cool. What the heck? Anyway, back to the video now. This room has another little secret area which lets you look at the next room. Getting this key at a specific time can actually kill you. Wait, what? 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 The dream lock in the background here actually acts like a fake dream lock. It looks like it's a real one, but when you try to dash through it, it's actually in the background. This room in 1500 actually makes a cameo earlier in the D-sides. There's a hidden room in 3D where you can see this room. Did you also know that the summit checkpoint names are references to the Vanilla Heart poems? Black Karma is a combination of Black Moonrise and Good Karma. Sunrise Running is a combination between Pink Sunrise and No More Running. Goodbye of the Mountain is a combination between Heart of the Mountain and Say Goodbye. And then Scattered Mirror of the Storm is a combination between Scattered and Lost, Eye of the Storm, and Mirror Magic. The reason this one contains a hard poem of chapter 3 is because there's 2 orb rooms leading up to 2k. First one is very much a resort, but the second one is a combination of both, and slowly transitions you from resort to Golden Ridge. It's pretty cool. And even though the actual checkpoint of Smot starts in the second orb room, the segment golden for this section actually starts in the second room. There's this random floating bubble in Smot's 4. But with some really tight movement, you can actually use it for a faster route. Shoutout to Smots Gaming. One day there was this random mysterious YouTube channel that showed up called Smots Gaming. They upload a video of Smots it every single day, usually with some unexpected twist or funny edit. Loss. This key room is smaller than a room should be able to be, which means you can look at the previous room while being in this room. By entering this red bubble and interacting with the bind at the same time to cancel the red bubble, then transitioning to the previous room, then back to this one, and then dashing, you can permanently play the red bubble sound. And this actually stacks. Sorry. This thing that looks like a jump through is not actually a jump through, it's fake, because sideways jump throughs don't exist in Vanilla Celeste. This decal behind this dash kills actually weirdly overlaps with these 2 mirrors. There's a little hidden area up here that has absolutely no purpose. Also, you can just skip this orb. You used to be able to cheese this segment golden by taking this feather and clipping through this jump through and collecting the golden at the end of Smots instead. This has since been patched though. With some precise movement, you can actually skip this core trigger and play the rest of this room in fire mode. This is flag 45, and this is also flag 45. There's 2 of them. This is actually the furthest room someone has made it in this map deathless. Which was me, I did that. If you want to watch my runs, go follow my Twitch. The reason these blocks act so weird is because it's a stacked moon block. There's just a bunch of them here. If you up them through this room transition, you will not actually reach high enough and you will fall back down and die. I found this out the hard way. What?! You aren't supposed to do an ultra here, but it does perfectly set up to do one. In core mode, normally nothing is supposed to refresh your dash except dash crystals and rune transitions. Except birds still do, because birds were never meant to be in core. This isn't even a 90 thing, this is also in vanilla, but this cassette block texture is just like wrong. So now whenever you play normal feral, you will not be able to unsee it anymore. You're welcome. This flag in parting gives you a double dash because it's actually from an old version of 70, just mirrored. And slightly nerfed. The cone room actually has no flag. In old 90 it used to have a flag, but it was the duplicate with the flag after it. They were both 19. If you scroll this binder too far down and exit it, you will get soft lock in the floor. If you do some funny movement here, you can also just clip through the ceiling. The star at the end of this room can actually kill you. There's a golden collect trigger here that's supposed to collect the segment golden for this part, but if you have too many other collectibles like keys, it will actually not collect. The music for this checkpoint called True Love by the Girl 90 has kind of been making the rounds lately. It showed up in a collab stream between Porter Robinson and Ludwig, where Porter said he actually really liked it.
I feel like Clarice is about to start singing or something. I love this.
Since then, you can hear it in a lot of other Ludwig videos as well, and it has even made an appearance in a Gotham chess
and
video.
every single learning tool. Folks, I know.
The height counter at True Love says 1 light here, but you can also read this as I love you, which works very well with the team at the checkpoint. There's actually an alternate route through this room, but it's neither easier or faster. There's also an alternate exit to this room. If you play this entire checkpoint perfectly deathless, the music will perfectly sync to the ending of the checkpoint.
Didn't I say it? Didn't I say it? Didn't I say it? Didn't I say it?
In an older patch of 90, you could actually infinitely duplicate this golden berry. There's like a lot of weird secrets and secret things in the Moonberry checkpoint. Some of the rooms in the Moonberry section are also from scrap maps for D-sides or just old D-sides. Oh yeah, this red berry is actually just a reskinned Moonberry. The reason this is so that it doesn't show up in the pause menu. The most well-known part of the Moonberry checkpoint is probably the back rooms, which is this one room from 7A copied over and over and over and over. And there's like a ton of hidden secrets and triggers and random stuff here. Though the most interesting one I think is this little path off here to the right that leads to this little secret area, where there's just a few grey rooms and then some flowers and a key. Though there is some pretty cool lore behind this section. In the original draft of the Platinum rooms, this actually led to the Platinum rooms. You could access the Platinum rooms from the back rooms and practice them. Though this idea was later scrapped and it was just replaced with a key. Though it's still impossible to actually access this section with the Platinum berry, as a big Platinum block blocks you from going here. Also, if you go to Celestial Resort Dark side, and you go to where the secret room used to be in the D side that showed you a 1500 room, there's actually nothing. But if you open debug, there's actually a room, and it's one of the Moonberry rooms. In the final room of the Moonberry section, there's actually dialogue boxes that show up for the amount of times you died. There's hidden dialogue boxes at 6 depths, 19 depths, 41 depths, 89 depths, 132 depths, 265 depths, and the last one for dying 523 times, which is the number in Monica's name. This took 15 minutes of dying. How is this my job? The final 90-second golden actually has an official name. It's called the Great Golden Finale. In the second room of Point of No Return, there's actually a secret top route. At some point 90 went through a big rework, hence there's an old 90 and a new 90. Most of the gameplay stayed the same, but all of Recon has been changed to be completely new gameplay. All the checkpoints kept the same name though, except Edge of the Universe. That one got changed to mostly Absolute Certainty. If you dash in between these spinners, the blocks around the dash crystal won't crumble. At the end of Mac, you can actually smuggle this jelly into the next room. And with a lot of effort, you can actually take it through most of the next checkpoint, all the way to the running section. Even though this running section is supposed to be dashless, you can smuggle one single dash in here from the previous section. In Old 90, there was actually a hidden maze of lookout blockers in Final Room. It would seem like the binocular only goes this far, but there's a specific path you can take where it leads all the way to the power box. Towards the end of Final Room, there's actually the secret alternate path. It is slightly faster, but much harder. That's just a little funny platform here. It doesn't do much. The poem you see throughout the end of Final Room and Poem Room actually references all of the checkpoints of the map. except some of the summit ones. I don't even know how you would reference Cat Mirror of the Storm in a poem. I'll put it on screen here so you can read it in full yourself if you want. Even though this map has a lot of sections where you can feather over the top of spinners, Monica actually learned and blocked it off in this room. This room is also meant to be dashes, but you can do the same thing as the running section, and you can smuggle a dash from the previous section. So if you beat the entire room without dying and don't use this dash, at the ending you can dash over the orb and get a secret little dialogue box. You can skip the puzzle in the hearts room by just doing a 5-tile overhang here. In the old 90 golden room section, T actually calls you out for using debug and cheating, because back when this was created, the concept of 90 deathless was completely incomprehensible. Depending if you get to the end of the map with a golden berry or a platinum berry, you will either get sent to the golden rooms or the platinum rooms. These are actually separate sections, but they are near identical. The main difference is, of course, that the platinum rooms have an extra special room at the end. But there are some small other differences as well, like the style ground is different. And the platinum rooms actually have no music, which is a very terrifying design decision. Just imagine playing this part and all you hear is your own heartbeat. Another weird little difference is that the fireball paths in the golden and the platinum rooms are actually slightly different. And oh yeah, did you know that the platinum rooms actually reference all the main chapters again, but this time in backwards order? You start with epilogue, then farewell, then core room, then a summit room, and you get the idea. Oh yeah, this fireball room also has a secret route here. I don't know why, but it's funny. This room also has a secret extra detach trigger. If you climb up in this corner, your berry will detach again. This room also has a secret touch switch behind this move block. It doesn't really do much besides move this block at the end, which also doesn't really do anything. The touch switch in this room actually makes the room harder. I don't know why you would ever get it. You have to go out of your way for it and it just makes the ending harder. The really long vertical room has a very slow cassette rhythm, which makes this very ambient cassette happen sometimes, which makes it a very spooky atmosphere. This room also has a hidden cassette block in the top right that you normally can never see, which I'll use to help showcase this next fact. Cassette cycles actually advance during freeze frames. This is why you see speedrunners spam dashes in cassette rooms as well. It's because dashing causes freeze frames, which actually briefly freeze the in-game timer while still advancing the cassette block cycles. Though interestingly, during freeze frames, cassettes actually ignore the tempo multiplier, which you can very clearly see in this room, because if I start to spam dashes, the cassette block suddenly changes significantly faster, because it starts ignoring the slow tempo it's supposed to have. In the final platinum room, you can see screenshots of other D-sides in the background which go along with the gameplay. These are actually all other D-sides, including old and scrap ones, in the order that Monica created them. This also means that every time the D-sides get updated with new content, this room becomes longer with new sections. The very last screenshot here is actually from another map Monica made called Journeys. You could play it, it's fun. Also, if you get the Moonberry and then get to the final platinum room, there's this weird static effect that gets applied to the background. Does this pattern of spinner gap seem familiar to you? There's actually two different platinum berries. There's a normal platinum berry, and there's a D-side specific platinum berry. This one exists specifically to make the platinum blocks and the platinum rooms work, but it also has a unique sound compared to the other one. And that's gonna be it for now. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and let me know in the comments if you want to see a part 2 where I talk about useful information instead. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Take care.